Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Word Bible Study, a plain and simple, book by book, chapter by chapter, and verse by verse study through the entire Bible. Currently, we are in Job chapter 8, and we're continuing Job's discourse between his friends and what friends they are. Um, Again, this is Job's predicament is human nature, sinful human nature, and um, why you shouldn't trust man. But anyway, and this doesn't mean that all people are like this, but certainly this is human nature. So let's get into it. Job is again just pleading his case. Job's position is basically, I'm innocent, and this happened to me, and I'm not understanding why it's happening to me. And this is how he feels about why his life was torn apart. His friends, on the other hand, is kind of like, what do you mean you don't understand? You obviously did something wrong. And now they're very irritated at Job because he's not realizing their point of view that you obviously did something wrong, Job. Else, this doesn't happen to good people, innocent people, so you obviously have done something wrong. What is interesting is that not one time can they ever say, Job, well, we've seen you lie. We've seen you steal. We've seen you defraud. We've seen XYZ. We've seen actions, words and actions coming from you, Job, that would say you deserve this. I've seen people suffer and then they are the most hardened by what happened to them. But yet, wait a minute, do you not remember what you did? All right, so let's get to it. Chapter 8. This is now Bildad. Then Bildad, the Shuhite, replied, "How long will you go on saying these things? Your words are a blast of wind." Now remember, this is just 7 days after Job's horrific. They got news and they came and they see Job's life has been destroyed. Now just keep this in mind. This is not a year from now. This is right after. Remember, they came, they sat for 7 days, didn't say anything. Job makes a speech, and then now they starts to tear into him, right? How long will you go on saying these things? Your words are a blast of wind. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? Now remember, they have no clue. And many people speak on the behalf of God when they really, frankly, should just shut up. Since your children sinned against him, he gave them over to their rebellion. How do they know that? Seriously, how do they know that? But if you earnestly seek God and ask the Almighty for mercy, if you are pure and upright, then he will move even now on your behalf and restore the home where your righteousness dwells. Then, even if your beginnings were modest, your final days will be full of prosperity. Now, this is somewhat prophetic because this will what happen. However, they have no clue of what is going on. They should be speaking for God. Verse 8, ask the previous generation and pay attention to what their fathers discovered. Since we were born only yesterday and know nothing, our days on earth are but a shadow. Will they not teach you and tell you and speak from their understanding? Does papyrus grow where there is no marsh? Do reeds flourish without water? Now, papyrus is a very interesting word here because many of the old manuscripts were written on dried out papyrus plants. They would take them and dry them out. This is why even now we don't have the original New Testament letters for that very reason. Many of them were written on papyrus plants, dried out papyrus plants. Verse 12. While still uncut shoots, they would dry up quicker than any other plant. Such is the destiny of all who forget God, the hope of the godless prepared. So again, they're just assuming this is what Job did. They're assuming this is why he is suffering, and they have no clue. His source of confidence is fragile. What he trusts in his spider's web, he leans on his web but doesn't stand firm. He grabs it, but it doesn't hold up. It does not hold up. He is a well-watered plant in the sunshine. His shoots spread out over his garden. His shoots were intertwined around a pile of rocks. He looks for a home among the stones. If he is uprooted from his place, it will deny knowing him, saying, I never saw you. Surely there is joy in his way of life, yet others will sprout from the dust. Look, God does not reject a person's integrity. God does not reject a person of integrity, and he will not support evildoers. Now remember, first of all, God said that there is no one on the planet with better integrity than Job. Verse 21, he will yet find, he will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with the shout of joy. Your enemies will be clothed with shame. The tents of the wicked will exist no longer. Job then replied, yes, I know. He said, yes, I know what you said is true, but how can a person be justified before God? If one wanted to take him to court, he could not answer. By the way, there was this silly movie about taking God to court. Anyway, if one wanted to take him to court, he could not answer God once in 1,000 times. Now, by the way, this is going to kind of prove, for Job, this is going to be proved to be not true. Wait till you get to chapter 38, Job, verse 4. God is wise and all-powerful. Who has opposed him and come out unharmed? He removes mountains without their knowledge, overturning them in his anger. He shakes the earth from its place so that its pillars tremble. He commands the sun not to shine and seals off the stars. He alone stretches out the heavens and treads out the waves of seas. He makes the stars bear Orion, the Pleiades, and the constellations of the southern sky. Now, by the way, this is not uncommon, or should be that the fact that they don't know this, because these were men that kind of sat around and pondered wisdom, right? They spoke to each other and they talked about wisdom and stuff. And they were kind of like, again, they would look at things like they would look at the plants and look at the little insects and study them, and then kind of talk about these great things of wisdom. So what you're kind of seeing is this kind of accumulation of human wisdom, however, not necessarily God-inspired wisdom. Verse 10, he does great and unsearchable things, wonders without number. If he passes by me, I wouldn't see him. If he goes right by, I wouldn't recognize him. If he snatches something, who can stop him? Who can ask him, what are you doing? God does not hold back his anger. Rahab's assistants cringe for fear beneath him. How then can I answer him or choose my argument against him? Now, this is kind of great because, again, he's going to get his chance, but this is kind of true. And one of the problems is that because you don't have all of the knowledge that you should have to make the case against God. Even if I were in the right, I could not answer. I can only beg my judge for mercy. If I summoned him and he answered me, I do not believe he would pay attention to what I said. He batters me with the whirlwind and multiplies my wounds without cause. He doesn't let me catch my breath, but soaks me with bitter experience. If it is a matter of strength, look, he is the mighty one. If it is a matter of justice, who can summon him? Even if I were in the right, my own mouth would condemn me. If I were blameless, my mouth would declare me guilty. Though I am blameless, I no longer care about myself. I renounce my life. It is all the same. Therefore I say, he destroys both the blameless and the wicked. When disaster brings sudden death, he mocks and despairs despair of the innocent. The earth is handed over to the wicked. He blindfolds its judges. If it isn't he, then who isn't? Who is it? My days fly by faster than a runner. They flee without seeing any good. They sweep like a boat made of papyrus, papyrus, you can say, papyrus, um, like an eagle swooping down on its prey. If I said I will forget my complaint, change my expression, my smile, I would still live in terror of my pains. I know you will not acquit me, since I will be found guilty. Why should I labor in vain? If I wash myself with snow and cleanse my hands with lye, then you dip me from the pit of mud, and my own clothes despise me. For he is not like me, he is not a man like me that I can answer him. Then we could take each other to court. There is there is no one to judge between us, to lay hands on both of us. Let us let us take uh, let him take the rod away from me, so his terror will no longer frighten me. Then I would speak and not fear him. But that is not the case. I am on my own. Now, he sort of implies that God is wrong, right? In other words, if he were a man, I could take him to court, but his position is I can take him to court and win my argument. He sort of implies that it doesn't matter if God is right or wrong. He's God, so therefore he can bully. Kind of, sort of implies that. Okay. Chapter 10, verse 1. I am disgusted with my life. I will express my complaint and speak of my bitterness of my soul. I will say to God, do not declare me guilty. Let me know why you prosecute me. Now remember, his problem is that God is not prosecuting him and God is not declaring him guilty. Right? Which probably, if he knows more, it'd probably worse to him, but that's not why Job is suffering. He said, it is good for you to oppress. It is good for you to oppress, to reject the work of your hands and favor the plans of the wicked. Right? Do you have eyes of flesh, or do you see as human sees? Are your days like those of a human? Or your ears like those of a man, that you look for my wrongdoing and search for my sin, even though you know that I am not wicked, and that there is no one who can deliver from your hand. Now he's kind of speaking kind of in the dark, in the blind here, remember, that he doesn't really know. In a sense, he's just kind of, a lot of people say this, right? A lot of people kind of will say, well, God is unfair, right? A lot of people get mad at God because they say, well, God, why did my loved one die? Why did this happen? Why did this adversity happen? Or more so, why didn't God prevent it from happening? Right? He says, verse 6, I'll go back to verse 5. Are your days like those of human, or your years like those of man, that you look for my wrongdoing and search for my sin? God doesn't have to search, Job. Even though you know that I am not wicked, oh, be careful, and that there is no one who can deliver me from your hand. Now, when he says wicked, he probably is thinking about his life in which God would agree he is a righteous man. He ensures turns away from evil. Not in the sense of being born in sin. That's not, verse 8, your hands shape me and form me. Will you now turn and destroy me? Well, God did that. Not in the sense kill him. Please remember that you formed me like clay. Will you now return me to dust? Did you not pour me out like milk and curdle me like cheese? You clothed me with skin and flesh and wove me together with bones and tendons. You gave me life and faithful love, and your care has guarded my life. Yet you concealed these thoughts in your heart. I know that I was your hidden plan. I know that, I'm sorry, let me go read verse 13 again. Yet you conceal these thoughts in your heart. I know that this was your hidden plan. If I sin, you would notice and would not acquit me of wrongdoing. If I am wicked, woe to me. And even if I am righteous, I cannot lift up my head. I am filled with shame and unaware of my affliction. If I am proud, you hunt me like a lion, and again display your miraculous powers against me. You produce new witnesses against me and multiply your anger towards me. Hardships assault me, wave after wave. Why did you bring me out of the womb? I should have died and never been seen. I wish I'd never existed. But had it been carried, but had been, I wish I had never existed, but had been carried from the womb to the grave. Are my days not few? Stop it. Leave me alone so that I can smile a little before I go to the land of darkness and gloom and never return. If it is a land of blackness, like the deepest darkness, gloomy and chaotic, where even the light is like the darkness. Now again, we have to kind of have some compassion with Job because, remember, a terrible tragedy has happened. And that we got to remember all of his wealth is taken away. And then his children die. So he's really speaking out of anguish. Now he's going to get in trouble with some of this. Now his friends. Now, but I'm going to stop and say this before I move on. When we are in adversity, right? Now just think about this. Now the adversity could be anything. Whenever you are going through, one of the things is that there is always this sense that you're on an island, that you're alone. See, the world keeps going by. If some tragedy happened to me right now, you can see in this room right here, if something happened in my life right now, the world is still going on. We always feel like we're alone, like there's, because we're the adversity. In some respects, we wasn't made for that. That's why it is a hardship, an emotional or trauma, right? The effects of it oftentimes is the impact of it is bad. And this is what, in a sense, Job is trying to cry out to his friends. Just listen to what I'm saying right here. And his friends are not having it. His friends are just not having it. All right, guys. Chapter 11 in the next study. Don't forget to like and share this video, and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. See you in chapter 11.